All right, folks. Good morning to you. Sorry, it's been a few days here. I'd intended on getting y'all a little bit more details on the clearing accounting software um, on Monday, and we wound up with a sick kid at home. Emmy was not feeling too good, so had to work from home and just never got out in the car or had an opportunity to chat with y'all about that stuff. And now at this point, it's kind of slipped from my mind a little bit on what all I intended on uh, chatting about with respect to clearing specifically, other than to say, the one reason that I really like that software so far, and I think I've said this before, is basically because it finds every penny. And, you know, I think that's the main difference between every accounting module that I've found with property management software. They manage the incoming money efficiently. They do a good job of saying, okay, this guest owes this amount of money, you charged them this amount. Oh, you had this trip related issue or whatever, you wanted to refund them this amount. It does. That's easy. Because it's actually controlling those transactions. Whereas when you've got something like Airbnb where the money's not coming through, Airbnb processes the transaction with the guest and then they send you the balance less their commission from there. And so clearing, what they've figured out how to do is um, they figured out how to go and pull the actual Airbnb transaction history and all the metadata with each transaction to say, okay, yes, this payment was lumped. What happens is, Airbnb, we might have four or five reservations that gets paid at the same time. And so you get this, you know, uh lump sum that's tied to a bunch of transactions that hit your bank account. And if you don't have a software like clearing, you're kind of looking and scratching your head and you're like, okay, what all did this have? And it might have, a $50 reconciliation for, an early check-in on somebody's thing. And it might have, somebody had some issues with hot water at some point. So you credit them a little bit. And so it's got a deduction for that. And then it's got these three bookings combined over here. And it's just like, man, how do I figure out, what all this money is that's hit my account and did I get paid correctly? So Clearing has figured out how to. They've got a Chrome extension for the Google Chrome browser. They built an extension there that lets you go to the transaction history in your Airbnb host profile and you click one button and it syncs however many, it can sync 12 months of transactions, 2 weeks of transactions, 7 days, whatever time period you want it to go and fish out for you. It goes and finds them and then says, and then physically assigns the individual transactions to each booking transaction that you have from your property management software. So that's why that's going to be the solution that we've been looking for. But in other new developments, a new exciting partnership that we've done with the Host Co. They are an online storefront that kind of has figured out a good delivery method for add-ons and extra amenities and all that other kind of stuff. Everybody's kind of trending in that direction. I've heard, our we use links for the locks. Even they're trying to figure out how to integrate some upsells and stuff. I think that's what property managers and owners in general are trying to work through is, how do I provide value added services that people are actually interested in and willing and happy even to pay for. And so the host co seems to have figured it out. like I said, I can create a virtual storefront, and I can customize it for each property. So what ends up happening is, we send them, a scheduled set of messages. Um, Throughout their booking journey where, okay, they book, all right, here's the message where we got to get some rental paperwork, and you got to do the ID verification and the damage waiver stuff. And then from there, you might get some messages, hey, just checking in, wanted to make sure everything's good, let us know if you have any questions. And then we'll kind of sprinkle in some of those messages with the links to the Hostco storefront. And so it'll give people an opportunity to request things like early check-in or late checkout. They've got a card for like early, luggage storage. A lot of people get to town early, but we're still cleaning the unit and stuff. So, um, you know, they need a place to put their stuff, hopefully, and we can accommodate that. Um, Pool heating, during the wintertime. We've got a heated pool, and so but it's a very expensive thing to run that heater during the wintertime. But we don't mind doing it if people want to use a heated pool and are willing to pay. We basically do it at cost. We're not looking to make any money on that, but um, it provides a way for us to say, hey, look, if you want a heated pool during the winter months, uh, December through February. Um, we're happy to do it. Here's the fee. Same thing in the summertime. The pool can be cooled. In June and July and August, that water can get easily up in 90, 95, 98 degrees, depending on how long the hot weather lasts day to day. And so you might want a pool that's a little bit more refreshing. So cool pool. And then we've obviously got our beach packages, chairs, umbrellas, uh, beach towels, etc. So we've got a great solution now for being able to market that stuff. We're actually even also thinking about doing kind of a mini bar. Um, Thing as well, where if you forget your sunscreen, or you don't want to run to the store for, I found a cool little guacamole mix. So little stuff like that, that I think people will be um, interested and happy to have access to, if it comes up, if a need arises. So anyways, those are the updates for today. Thanks for your patience. I don't think we're to the point yet where anybody's hanging on by a thread if they don't get their catching up on the Causeway episode. But we appreciate everybody that listens nonetheless. We will catch up with you again in the next one. See ya.